Hello everyone and welcome to my nerdy little corner of the internet. Winterspell is right around the corner, and so it is time for my ultimate draft guide. In this guide we will look into the data within the set, some archetypes you'll see in the set, and some traps to avoid. Winterspell introduces a new mechanic, and we will also look at a few cards for some clarifying rulings. Each ink has a card with the Underdog ability. Cards with Underdog cost 2 ink normally, but if it's your first turn and you're not the first player, they only cost 1. This allows you to play this character early, but requires you to have it in your opening hand for the discount. Let's look at Grandmother Willow. Grandmother Willow's Smooth the Way ability says once during your turn, you pay 1 ink less for the next character you play this turn. You may notice a lack of the word may. This means you do not have control over the timing of this ability. The discount must be implemented on the next character you play immediately after the Willow, or the first character you play for the turn if Willow is already in play. Now let's look at Lilo bundled up. Though you are unlikely to see Lilo, she is in the set, and understanding her extra layers ability is important. Extra layers says, during each opponent's turn, the first time this character would take damage, she takes no damage instead. Damage has 5 terms relating to it in Lorcana: deal and dealt, put, remove and removed, move and take. This is a potential future video, but for now we will focus on take for Lilo. Taking damage can be understood as a character having more damage counters on them than before an effect. Was a character challenged? They take damage. Damage counters put on them by malicious means scary? They took damage. Damage moved to it? You got it. It took the damage. What this means is that Lilo is immune to the first instance of damage counters getting onto her, regardless of the method. With Winterspell, there is also some new deck building rules. In Sealed, you still need to build a 40 card minimum deck, but in Draft, the limitation has gone down to 35 card minimum. This allows more consistency and a less tight deck building experience, as you're allowed to cut 13 cards from your pool as opposed to just 8. While super rares and legendaries can be exciting to open in our packs, we must keep an eye out for potential traps within the set while drafting. There is no shame in picking a card for its value, rarity, or just the fact that you love the card. These are simply cards that may not be as beneficial to your pool as one might initially think. Raging Storm. You are never going to reach 8 ink, and even if you have the capability to do so, building your deck around this card can be a detriment to you. Tinkerbell, Snowflake Collector. Resources are naturally harder to maintain and limited, and keeping 4 cards in hand is already difficult. I can't imagine trying to keep 7. Darkwing Duck, Dashing Gadgeteer. This card wants you to have a collection of items in your deck, and the majority of these items aren't worth playing in your deck, and thus neither is this specific Darkwing. The removal in Winterspell is pretty diverse, as we have damage movement with Morgana Macabre and Flit, direct damage with the Terror that Flaps in the Night and Mushu Sneaky Dragon, and a collector of Powerhouse Rushers and Copper on the Scent, Maui Snowslider, and Terran Magically Armed. We also of course have one of the best removal cards in the history of Lorcana, Let It Go. In Fabled, Strength, Willpower, and Lore per Ink, or SPI, WPI, and LPI respectively, was 0.7, 1.01, and 0.41. In Whispers in the Well, it was 0.96, 1.12, and 0.47. In Winterspell, we continued to increase the size of our characters with 0.93, 1.16, and 0.48 Strength, Willpower, and Lore per Ink respectively. As these characters get larger, you need to make sure that your smaller than curve characters have abilities that make them worth having. The cost curve of the commons and uncommons leans heavier into the 2-drop slot than in previous sets, so make sure to prioritize drafting 3+ cost cards early, then filling out your early game later in your drafts. Winterspell has a ton of ways to grab cards and get some card advantage while also having more evasive interaction than previous sets. Unfortunately, there are less bodyguards than Whispers in the Well, so expect those to be at a premium. There are a few decks you can build, such as the Lilo and Stitch the series deck. You have Lilos that like having Stitches in play, Stitches that like having Lilos in play, and cards that like having aliens either in the discard or in play. Drop down some synergistic cards, then play a big cheapened character to show your opponents the power of Ohana. Next is the Pocahontas Quest Out deck. Cards from the Pocahontas franchise want to play the questing game, giving you rewards for not challenging during your turn. Finally, if you manage to get a wealth of playable items, you could build the Darkwing Duck items deck. However, I don't suggest it as it requires replacing characters with items in your deck, but it could be a very fun deck to play if you want to get dangerous. In our final segment, I will give you my top 5 commons, uncommons, and rares for the set. My top 5 commons are as follows. Marching Off the Battle. Boy howdy were we spoiled by friends on the other side. This is an incredible card advantage with a very easy to achieve condition, and the option of singing makes it even better. Isis Vanderchill, Ice Queen of St. Canard. A relatively large character that exerts an opposing utility character and can create favorable challenges is always useful and limited. Hey, Persistent Presence. These pseudo-immortal characters always give you an option of action. You can quest to bait a challenge, or this can be used with helpful trades and simply return back to hand for more value. Lumpy, Playful Heffalump. We learned from Call last set that sometimes you just need a big, chunky, evasive character to finish off the game, and Lumpy fits that description to a T. Tiny Tim's Crutch. Support is a subtly powerful ability in Lorcana, and with the Crutch being able to grant support to any of your characters allows for impressive trade-ups, and there is a specific super rare that really likes having a lot of strength. Here are my favorite uncommons. Mushu, Sneaky Dragon. This doesn't have a condition on it, folks. It's 2 damage and will likely quest once for 3 lore. This is a pretty good versatile card. Slushy, Glacial Guster. Again, we got the chunky evasive. He can safely quest and threaten the vast majority of characters in the set. Scrooge McDuck, Ghostly Ebenezer. He is also pretty big for his cost. With a boost 1 to make him bigger, he can consistently scale up into the late game and be a useful character for challenges and safe quests. Terran, Magically Armed. Our big bunkin' rusher is always a great card to have. Education or Elimination. The versatility on this card is wild. It's removal, it's card draw, it's a protection spell, and it's instant lore. Finally, here are my favorite rares in Winterspell. Stitch, Carefree Snowboarder. You will likely have 2 or more other characters in play by the time Stitch is ready to quest, and at that point, it's just free card draw. Todd, Playful Kit. A solid versatile character, either giving himself protection through evasive, or by getting extra lore when the protection isn't needed. Let It Go. Like I said before, this is premium removal, it can be sung, and it's just really good. Pete, Ghost of Christmas Future. Like Stitch, Pete gives you card advantage while questing, and for Pete, it's even easier to reach the requirement of getting card advantage and is even better card advantage than Stitch. Goofy, Klutzy Skier. When the board is empty, and you're free to do so, he quests for 2, but most of the time he's going to be a panic button for your opponent's bomb characters, and this creates a mind game where your opponent doesn't necessarily want to put out their bombs because they know it's going to be banished right away. Well, that's all I have for you today. If you enjoyed the video, please make sure to like and subscribe, and let me know how you do at your Winterspell limited events. Goodbye.